Hi boys and girls, it's Miss Garcia again. Today we'll be talking about daytime and nighttime and what we see in the sky during the day and what we see in the sky at night. Let's start by looking at this picture on the screen. On this side, we have the daytime. On this side, we have the nighttime. On the left, we see that the sun is out and shining bright. We see a kite flying up in the sky and a bluebird flying. We see clouds, and sometimes we might even see a rainbow after a shower. Now, at night, it's a little different. What do you see that's different? It's a lot darker, right? And we also see that the moon is out. That's because the sun has set during the day. And now at night, we can see the moon clearly and lots of stars in the sky. We also see some clouds sometimes, and we might see airplanes flying by at night or fireworks going off for a celebration somewhere nearby. In our story this week, we're going to be reading about a little mole who wanted the moon for himself. Let's read the title of our book, Bringing Down the Moon. Now down here, we have the person that wrote the book. What is that person called? The author. And the person that drew these beautiful pictures that we'll be seeing through the pages. Who is that person that drew the pictures? The illustrator. Now let's read their names. The author is Jonathan Emmett, and the book was illustrated by Vanessa Caban. Let's begin our story. Hot diggity, exclaimed Mole as he burrowed out of the ground one night. Whatever's that? The moon was hanging in the sky, above him, like a bright silver coin. Mole thought that it was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. Whatever it is, I must have it, Mole said to himself. I know, I'll jump up and pull it down. Thump, thump, thumpity thump. Mole was so busy jumping, he didn't think about the noise he was making. And he woke up Rabbit in her burrow. Mole, said Rabbit, what on earth do you think you're doing? Hello, Rabbit, said Mole. I'm trying to pull down that shiny thing. You mean the moon? asked Rabbit. So that's what it's called, said Mole. You'll never do that, said Rabbit. It's not as close as it looks. But Mole would not give up. I know, he thought. I'll get a stick and poke it down. He found a long stick and poked it up at the moon. Swish, swish, swishity, swish. Mole was so busy poking that he tripped over Hedgehog in his bed of leaves. Mole, grunted Hedgehog. What are you up to? Hello, Hedgehog, said Mole. I'm trying to poke down the moon. You'll never do that, said Hedgehog. It's not as close as it looks. But Mole would not give up. I know, he thought. I'll throw something at it and knock it down. He found some acorns and threw them at the moon. Plink, plink, plinkety, plink. Ouch, said Squirrel. Mole, have you gone nuts? Hello, Squirrel, said Mole. I'm trying to knock down the moon. You'll never do that, said Squirrel. It's not as close as it looks. But Mole wanted the moon so badly, he would not give up. I know, he thought. I'll climb a tree and carry it down. Mole had never climbed a tree before. It was hard work, and he was scared to be so far from the ground. But he kept on going until he saw the moon resting in the leaves above him. Mole stretched out his paws, but just when he thought he had the moon, he slipped. Oh, eek, ouch, ooh! Mole stumbled down and landed, splash, in the middle of a puddle. Hot diggity drat, thought Mole. I almost had it that time. Then he noticed something. Floating in the puddle beside him It was pale and wrinkled, but Mole recognized it at once. "The moon," he whispered. "It must have fallen down with me." He reached out to pick up the moon, but as soon as he touched it, it broke into pieces and vanished. Mole sat in the puddle and cried. Rabbit, Hedgehog, and Squirrel came running up. "Are you all right, Mole?" asked Rabbit. "I'm all right," sobbed Mole. "But the moon isn't. I pulled it down and then I broke it, and it was so beautiful. And now I'll never see it again." "Oh, Mole," said Rabbit, "you couldn't have pulled down the moon." "And you couldn't have broken it," said Hedgehog. "And you'll certainly see it again," said Squirrel. "Look!" High up in the sky above them, the moon was coming out from behind a cloud. "Oh," whispered Mole, "and it's just as beautiful as ever." Mole, Rabbit, Hedgehog, and Squirrel stood and stared up at the moon together. "It is beautiful," said Rabbit. "Very beautiful," said Hedgehog. "Very beautiful indeed," said Squirrel. "Yes," said Mole, "but it's not as close as it looks." So in this story, we know that Mole really wanted to have the moon. And he tried and tried, but every time he tried, he couldn't seem to bring the moon down. Until he climbed that tree and fell into that puddle, and then he thought he broke the moon because he had seen the reflection of the moon in the water, and when he splashed the water rippled and made waves and made the moon look as though it had broken into lots of pieces. But later his friends explained to him, "You didn't actually bring down the moon, and you didn't actually break it. It was just hiding behind some clouds when you were looking at the reflection. That's why it looked like it had broken." And they explained to Mole that he could not have brought down the moon at all. And so they all stood there and admired it in the sky. So in this story, we have a problem. And a problem is something that goes wrong or causes worry. What caused Mole to worry in this scene from the book? Look at the water. What do you see in the water? Yeah, it's the moon. That was the part of the story where he looked down at the water and couldn't see the moon anymore and thought that he had broken it because of the water moving and rippling. Now, a solution in a story is what can be done to fix the problem. In this story, how did they fix the problem? After Mole was worried and thought he had broken the moon, how did his friends help to solve that problem? Yes, they talked to him and explained, "You didn't bring down the moon and you didn't break it. It was just behind some clouds." In today's activity, I would like for you to take your sheet of paper and lay it out sideways just like this, like a rectangle. And I would like for you to label the top on the left side, problem, and on the top right side, solution, just like you see here. And you're going to draw a T chart, a little line straight up and down like this, like we do in class, and another line at the top across your page so that you make a small thin box up here and a small thin box up here to write your two words. Then you'll have all this space here and all of the space here to draw your pictures. Let's read the sentences at the bottom together, and I would love for you to copy these on the bottom of your paper as well. For the problem, I wrote, Mole thought that he broke the moon. So what would you draw on this side? Would you draw Mole climbing up the tree? No. Would you draw Mole thumping around over Rabbit's burrow? No. How about when Mole landed in the leaves? Nope. So which was the problem in the story? When Mole thought that he broke the moon. That's what I would like for you to draw on this side. Let's take a look at this side, where we have the solution, how we fix the problem. I wrote, Rabbit, Hedgehog, and Squirrel Show Mole that he did not break the moon. It was just behind the cloud. So, for the solution, you will draw a picture showing rabbit, hedgehog, and squirrel standing on the hill with Mole pointing up at the moon, showing him the moon is right there. You didn't bring it down and you didn't break it. And that is it for our activity for today. Once you do your activity, make sure to take a picture and send it to me so that I can see your beautiful work. You can go ahead and press pause now so you can stop on this screen and look at what's on the screen and copy it. And then you can go into Seesaw and submit your assignment. Bye, boys and girls.